What's up and welcome back to Bardown Talking Hockey episode number 172, presented by the Barroom Network. It is the home of everything relating to the greatest league in the world, the NHL. My name is Vinnie Parisi, and I still believe the New Jersey Devils are going to win the Stanley Cup. And this right here, this is Frankie Mueller, and he is the king of all beans. Frank, how you doing?
Doing good. Excited. Hockey's back. Hawks are back. It's been fun so far.
Oh, yeah, Hawks are back after watching that game. They're totally back, aren't they?
It's all right. They actually
Unreal.
outplayed Utah in the second half.
They did. They really did in the second half.
They went from
of the
being
game.
dominated to out shooting them and looking like the better team in the second half.
It was one of those instances where, like, you could play better all you want, but if you're worse than the other team overall, you're like, chances are you're going to lose.
They hit 3 posts too, like 3 or 4 posts.
Yeah.
It was so annoying.
Yeah, I heard the Utah Hockey Club signed the post actually for 8 years at $7.8 million. So
It'll come in handy.
Good work for the post and its family. Rich forever now. Speaking of people signing contracts or lack thereof, we are going to talk about some contracts, the business side of the NHL in period number 1. How many times do you think I've heard that in my life?
Well, you hear it at least 3 per episode.
Yeah, there are a couple episodes that didn't have it, like we did the run right through, but like roughly 3 per ep.
Yeah, 3 per. Well, yeah, 3 per ep. When you did overtime, was it the same?
I was gonna say it was the same sound, and all those overtimes they might outweigh the times that we didn't have it at all.
And what episode is this?
172.
174?
72. Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were on 174.
No, 172.
So at least over 500 times.
Yeah, that's crazy. Jeremy Swayman, Frank, last time we talked, didn't really look like he was going to play for the Boston Bruins to start the season.
Yeah.
And then, sure as shit, on Sunday of last week, we get breaking news in the morning that Jeremy Swayman and the Bruins have come to a contract extension. 8 years, is it 8.25? Going to be a Bruin for the next 8 years. Lots of messy contract negotiations. He's pissed off at the Bruins for things they said to him in the negotiation process. They're pissed off at him for not signing and just letting bygones be bygones. It was messy. Frickin' Cam Neely goes to the media and says, "Oh, well, I have 64 million reasons why I'd be playing." And Jeremy Swayman's like, "Nah, bro, you didn't offer me that." Well, his agent was. What are your thoughts on this contract? And then I'll kind of divulge into mine a little bit.
Yeah, so really quick, you did send me 2 sheets in a row that say 172.
I did. Holy shnikes.
And I went back a little bit further, and I think there was another one that it went from like...
Well, we had the hiatus.
But it went from 166 to 168. I don't even have a 167. I don't know. Every time I do this sheet, I just add 1. I had 174.
I'll look through, and if I'll keep the fact that it's 174.
I just want to know what we're at, because like
100%.
200th episode. You know?
So do I. I agree with you. I'll dig now that it's on my radar. You said it was. It's clearly not 172 because you're right. I see on my sheet from last week I wrote 172. I don't know what I was thinking. I think it's either 173 or 174. But if you say it's 174, we'll stick with that. I will.
It means only 26 more weeks.
Yeah, seriously, a change will be made with my sheet making process with the number as far as that. I will have that corrected.
But anyway, Jeremy Swayman, 8 years, 66 million. That roughly is 8.25 annual average per year. He obviously, well, he wasn't going to play opening night, right, against the Panthers. Korpisalo was announced the starter well before the Swayman contract was ever agreed on. But the Panthers proved that night they were a force. They looked great on banner raising night. They really did. Things look shaky for Korpisalo. That was one of the things I was most worried about the Bruins this year, is that will Korpisalo be enough to man the backup position? Got a long season to answer that question, but the Bruins miss having Swayman in net. Swayman last night, he got the nod against the Canadiens. Swayman looked rusty. 4 goals against, 833 save percentage. Swayman clearly wasn't at his best, but the best part is he solidified the win for the Bruins against their biggest rival. And regardless of rust or not, Swayman did not perform to his standards, and the Bruins hope that it's purely being rusty. I'm sure that'll, as the season goes on, it'll get better. I mean, for every goalie and every team, there's usually a lot of goals through the first couple weeks of the season. Teams are getting, used to the season and coming off a long break for some teams. And I don't know. I like the contract for Swayman. It's good they locked them up, but we'll see how the rest of the season holds for Swayman.
Him and Allmark have the same cap hit now because Allmark signed a 4-year deal, but with the same cap hit a couple days ago as well. So it's interesting to me. I think there are a lot of things that went into play of the Bruins actually getting this done. The first thing is what Seabass said at the press conference. I don't know if you've seen, is it That's My Boy, where Cam Neely plays Seabass? No. What movie does Cam Neely play Seabass? I forget. He said, I have 64 million reasons why I'd play. Jeremy Swayman's talking through his agent to the public. I also think that show on Amazon, I haven't gotten to watch it yet. I will be grinding it soon. About the NHL players. Episode 3 was the Jeremy Swayman story. And there were a lot of things said and a lot of it went public. And I think all of these things coming together, Swayman and the Bruins, they figured it out. A lot of people don't realize when players negotiate contracts with their teams or new teams, whatever, they hardly ever have direct communication with the team. Most of the time on July 1st, they're out on a beach in frickin' the Caribbean or something, and their agents are the ones signing their deals.
Mm-hmm.
And go back and forth. The agent's like a moderator. I don't even want to say the proper term. They tell the player what's what, and then they go back to the team and say it. The guy who represents Swayman also represented William Nylander when he held out. I don't know if you remember that Nylander holdout. He didn't sign. He signed literally at the witching hour. I think it was November 30th at 11:30 p.m. And if he wasn't signed by midnight, December 1st, he wasn't eligible to play in the NHL for that remainder of that season. He got it done literally with seconds to spare. Swayman didn't come to that, but I find it odd. I don't believe in coincidences when it comes to the business side of things in sports. And the fact that this guy represents both Swayman and Nylander, and they both had messy, what feels like nasty negotiating tactics, I find no coincidence in that. Now,
you think it's nasty? You think it's on purpose?
I do. I listen. It didn't strain the relationship between Nylander and the Leafs long term. Now, for one, Kyle Dubas isn't there anymore, as he was when he got Nylander signed. But hopefully, Swayman, it doesn't happen to him, because it's nasty when a player and a team don't jive, and you're signed for 8 years now. You got the big win in the first game, but the way Korpisalo kind of played, I'm not going to hold it against Korpisalo completely. The Bruins were dog crap, and they couldn't clear a rebound in front of him, but he was laying nasty rebounds too. Two things can be true. He wasn't on top of his game, but the team didn't help him very much either. And they also didn't score on Bobrovsky enough like they did against Montreal. So it's a great thing that Swayman got this done, in my opinion. I think long term he will be one of those guys who competes for the Vezina Trophy every single season. He may win one or two, but it's hard to win it. Only one goalie wins it each year, and you have other elites in the league. But the Bruins have a chance to win because they solidified their number one guy. And on game 1 of the playoffs, if he's healthy, who's going to be the one to start the game. I hate that it got to where it got, because, again, when I saw the number too, the cap hit, I was like, really? You guys allowed all this to happen for 8.25? If he signed for 9, I'd be like, okay, I see where the disconnect is. That's a little, but kind of just a good deal for everyone. The 8.25, I'm like, you couldn't have got that done in June? Really? or if the Bruins got him for under 8, like 7.9, I'm like, okay, negotiations, it led to them getting to that, but like 8.25, that's basically what everyone expected.
Yeah.
Like he hasn't proven what someone like Sergei Bobrovsky has proven, so he's not going to get 10. Like we all figured that. The most games he's ever started in the NHL is 44. He did that last year. Elite in those 44, but like it's still only 44. Just 8 felt perfect the whole time. The whole time. And we got that messy over like $250,000. That's just nuts to me. But it's done. The deal's over. The Bruins are well on their way. It is funny watching the Bruins kind of deal with something like that because they never really have in our time watching hockey, at least. They got Pasta signed up for cheap for most of his 10. Even his new contract, you can argue, is a little on the cheaper side. McAvoy, same thing. Bergeron played for $6 million for what feels like forever. Marchand, cheap deal. Lindholm's on a good contract. Rask never made more than what? I think Rask was in that like 8 something too, and he was like well more accomplished than Swayman when he signed that deal. And the cap's going up too, so the Bruins are going to be just fine in terms of cap space with this. But it was funny watching him squirm a little bit for a minute there.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for the Bruins. Are you surprised at the length of the contract at all?
No, because he's like 23. He'll probably get another big ticket.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Do you think it should have been a little bit less and then the big one after that, like an even bigger one, like maybe a 6-year, 5 or 6 year, and then you load up with the bag after that? Once he proves.
That's where the cap hits probably like 10 million though.
Because after 8 years, I don't know if it would be as much as it would be if he was signed to a 5 to 6 year and then giving him the bag.
That's fair, but if you do that, you sign him for 5. The cap hits no less than 9 if you sign for 5. The shorter the deal, the more average annual value.
That's true.
And then when he is 28, 29 years old, you run the risk of him heading on out of there. Where if he's 31, 32, you could probably keep him around, sign him for a little less. I don't know. Yeah, I like the length for the Bruins. I think he's going to be elite for the entire contract. I really do. It's a great deal all around. He's rich forever, and he's going to sign again. He's going to sign one more big deal. If when he's 31 and he puts up a Vezina Trophy season by then, he's consistently one of the 5 best goalies in the league over the next 8 years. Yeah, he'll sign a similar deal to Bobrovsky. I don't know if he'll get 10 schmil at 31 years old or whatever the case may be, but if he gets 9 or 8 again, that's another big ticket. So happy for him. Happy for the Bruins. Hopefully everybody lets bygones be bygones and we move forward. One team that has not been able to move forward with their goalie yet is the New York Rangers. Igor Shesterkin has a year left on his contract, and the New York Rangers offered him an 8-year deal worth $88 million. That is an average annual value of $11 million a season. It would make him one of the highest paid players in the NHL, and it would solidify him as the highest paid goalie in the NHL, passing Sergei Bobrovsky, and he turned it down. He turned down about the max of what you would think a goalie gets in the NHL, $88 million. What's your reaction to that?
Could you imagine just saying no to 11 million per year and just like, nah, I'm not going to take it? I mean, I'm kind of stunned. I got to be honest with you. He didn't want to discuss his contract with the media, but the rumblings I heard is that he was unhappy with the offer. Elliot Friedman wrote on Wednesday that he believes Shesterkin's representative, his agent, has a simple argument. Igor is your best player, and he should be compensated as your best player, right? Because right now, if he would have taken that contract, he wouldn't have been the highest paid player on the New York Rangers. That belongs to Artemi Panarin, who gets $11.64 million per year. Now, Igor might be their best player, but I don't agree that he should be compensated more than Panarin just because he's your best player, right? If you want to help your team win the Stanley Cup, taking $11 million, it should be a piece of cake. You shouldn't even think twice about it. If that's what you're going to bitch about here and you're going to complain over an extra $1 million, to me, if this is true from what I'm hearing, and I trust Elliot Friedman's words and the stuff that he says, if that's what really is going on here, that is blasphemy. That just Igor Shesterkin doesn't want to win. He's just in it for the money. He's just money hungry. So that just, to me, that rubs me the wrong way. I think there are some great goalies who get undercompensated, but I mean, they help their team win and make postseason runs, and it's not all about the money. I guess for him it is, but yeah, this just rubs me the wrong way, VP.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Let me ask you something. Who's the best player on the Devils?
Jack Hughes,
Who's the second best player on the Devils?
Nico Hischier.
Are either of them the highest paid player on the Devils?
No, they're not.
Are either of them the second highest paid player on the Devils?
Are they not?
No.
Wow,
Neither of them are the third highest paid player on the
that's
Devils.
crazy. But see, that's what I'm.
They
talking
are
about.
the fourth and fifth highest paid Devils.
That's what I'm
Jack
talking
Hughes
about.
and Nico Hischier. And
Well, that'll probably
they
change,
were,
obviously, but-
well, when their contracts are up
Yeah.
in 5 years, but they were drafted and developed by the Devils. You draft and develop guys. They paid them before they even proved it, really, especially Hischier. And that's how it works. Panarin was a free agent. The Rangers didn't draft him. The Rangers were his third team. That's why he makes that much money. They overpaid to get him. And he's been worth every penny. I'm not overpaying is not necessarily a bad thing. They got their guy and he's lived up to it. Very few free agents live up to their contract the way Panarin has. Panarin's going to go to the Hall of Fame probably. If he keeps this up for 1 or 2 more years and he plays 1,200 games, has over 1,000 points, 500 plus goals, he's going to the Hall. I don't 500 goals. I don't think he needs that. He did start kind of late. I think he was a rookie at 24, but like relative to his time in the NHL and what he did for SKA, and we'll see what he does in if Russia is allowed to play an Olympic competition. We'll see how that all goes. But I think Shesterkin's the best goalie in the NHL. I do. 11 million, dude. You're paid. You're the best goalie in the NHL. You're paid like the best goalie in the NHL.
And no goalie's ever made that in the NHL.
I also think if you take Igor off the Rangers, do they get worse? Absolutely. Of course they do. But like, is the team good enough to win the Stanley Cup if Jonathan Quick is their starter? Yeah, I think it's absolutely possible. If you take Artemi Panarin off the Rangers, they ain't winning shit. They are not winning shit. The reason they advanced to the third round last year was because Panarin actually picked it up in the playoffs for the first time in a Ranger uniform.
It's like we're crying over $1 million here.
It's nuts.
12 million.
It's
So
nuts.
you could be happy to just be the highest paid player.
Yeah, it's blasphemy.
It's
crazy. Absolute blasphemy. So I don't know how much higher the Rangers, because you can't go more than 8 years. It's been collectively bargained that the team that you're on can only offer you 8 years, and a team you're not on can only offer you 7. I just don't see how you go higher than 11 mil on a goalie though and expect to win.
You can't.
Like
You
that's
really
a large.
can't.
And Frank, what goalie in the league is just consistently the best all the time? Igor was dog crap in the first half of the season last year. Now the second half of the season was a different story from about January on. Maybe it was something with the Russians last year because it was basically Ovechkin's timeline. Right around January, he just started becoming the Igor that we know, and obviously he carried him. He was a big part of taking them to the Eastern Conference Finals last year where they were defeated by Florida. It's crazy to think like paying a goalie that much because they're so up and down. Bobrovsky's had down years.
100%.
He's going to the Hall of Fame. He's got 2 Vezina trophies, Stanley Cup, well into his 30s too. But he's had down years where it's like, oh, what's going on with Bobrovsky? There were a couple years where Tuukka Rask was like, remember those years where the Bruins missed the playoffs? They got McAvoy. Like, you know, every goalie has down years here and there. And if your goalie has a down year and he's making $11 million, you could kind of live with it a little bit because Igor's down year is still like either average or slightly above average goaltending. You can live with him having a down year if he's making $8 million. Because you could go get a backup rental to like take some of the load off for him if he's having a tough year. And then, you know, maybe the next year he gets back into form. That happens all the time. Look at Hellebuck. Hellebuck, he wasn't on anybody's radar to win the Vezina trophy for the second time last year. He basically solidified his Hall of Fame case with his season he had last year. And, you know, goalies are just such a crapshoot. The Devils could make it to the second round with Vitek Vanacek 2 years ago. And then last year, I honestly think they would have had a better chance if you were playing goalie. Like, and, you know, it changes year over year. I just can't believe he turned it down. We have a good buddy who's a Rangers fan. His name is Jeremy. He wants him traded.
I don't
if he
blame
doesn't
him.
sign a deal like that. And imagine the haul the Rangers could get. Like, imagine putting Igor on Colorado right now. Or what's another really, really good team that needs a goalie?
Honestly,
For 1 year. You muted yourself by accident. Yeah. I don't know why Igor thinks he can do that, but like if the Rangers could get something crazy for him, imagine getting a first round pick, a high end prospect, and whatever for Igor for a team that wants to win the Stanley Cup this year.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Through the mic?
Yep.
Maybe the Kings. They don't need one, but it would help. It would
No,
help.
they need one.
Colorado,
I think, needs one.
It's just I mean, if I'm the Rangers, you don't hold me by the balls. You're leaving then. If you don't want to sign that contract, I'm not going to bow down and get on my knees and say, all right, we'll give you 12 at an 8-year, $96 million contract. That's just not going to happen. Like you said, I think they could win a Stanley Cup without him. So like at that point, there will be so many other goalies who would want to come play for an original 6 franchise and take not even 11 million. So, I mean, that's just poo-poo on Shesterkin. And yeah, I mean, I would not bow down to him. I agree with Jeremy. You trade him then. I'd be fine with that. Even if I was a Rangers fan, I'm fine with that. Get him out of there. You don't want that mentality if you want to go win a cup. You need a guy who wants to be a team player. And he's not, obviously. And to me, he kind of condones this because he doesn't even want to discuss it with the media. It's like he's pissed. I feel like he's pissed he's not getting more.
Yeah. I mean, and some idiot's going to pay him. And he'll be
There
good.
will be teams that pay him.
Yeah, and he'll be good. He'll look worth it some of the years. He won't some others. But it's like it's also different if you leave in free agency for $12 million. If you sign with your own team, there should be a little bit of a hometown discount in 90% of cases, especially if your team has been one of the best in the league for a handful of years now. I mean, when's the last time the Rangers were bad? 2018-19? 17-18 maybe? I feel like they're on like a 5-year streak of being in the playoffs. So I don't know what Igor thinks. I don't know. I'm not going to say I don't know who he thinks he is because he thinks he's Igor Shesterkin, the best goalie in the league. And I think if I had to win one game tomorrow and I was building a team from scratch and I could pick any goalie in the league, I probably would take Igor. I mean, it is kind of funny that the day that this news kind of dropped, he went out there and freaking dummied the Pittsburgh Penguins. I mean, it was pretty funny that happened.
He got a shutout.
Yeah, freaking he shuts out the team that like. But you know what though? Look at the way the Penguins won cups, Frank. Crosby was never the highest paid player on the Penguins. I don't even think he was second. I think Letang always made more than Crosby. And obviously so did Evgeny Malkin. Like when you're signing for $90 million, like okay, so it could be 94. Like I'll never understand it as a poor, but it's nuts. The Rangers, they'll figure it out. They always do, but it's not great with them in Igor Shesterkin land right now.
No, not at all. Not at all, VP.
All right, Frank, let's get to another portion of hockey. We're going to do that in period number 2. Welcome to period 2, Frank. Okay, so not every team has played yet. I'm actually very, very excited to catch Mr. Alexander Ovechkin in the Washington Capitals for the first time tonight. I know you are playing me in fantasy hockey. And, Ovechkin's first game is tomorrow. The Capitals don't play till tomorrow. It's against the Devils. I knew that. I just assumed that tomorrow was the second half of a back-to-back. But I am super stoked about every team so far that I've seen. I haven't gotten to see everybody yet. Obviously, it's impossible. It's not like football where you can just watch the red zone and kind of take in bits and pieces. Like you kind of have to flip around, and I've been doing a good job of that so far. The only game that's kind of odd that you might not expect me to have watched the entire thing of, I watched the San Jose Sharks versus St. Louis Blues game yesterday from beginning to end. I missed 0 seconds of it. And it was one of my favorite games I've seen since the season started in Prague a week ago. But yeah, it's been great. Who has impressed you the most so far of any team or player that you've seen?
Honestly, it's probably Logan Cooley and the Utah Hockey Club, right? Very hot start. He's got 4 points through his first 2 games. No goals yet, but it's a good sign for Utah if Logan Cooley could start to get cooking early on. VP's got the big grin on his face because he's like, I told you Utah would be good.
Hey, no, I don't overreact to. No, I'm not talking about the team. I'm excited about those players and what they will become. Me being right about Utah is far from solidified.
No, 100%. But Dylan Gunther, too, leads the NHL in
That
goals.
I will smirk about involved. Yeah.
He got the first ever goal in franchise history for Utah. Another big reason for Utah's hot start. So they've been very impressive. But how about last night, VP? How about Anze Kopitar getting a hat trick in LA's first game of the season? Is he drinking from the fountain of youth? Is Kopitar coming back? You love to see it. You really love to see it. I love him. From a veteran, he's 37 years old. And this guy looked 23 last night. It was unbelievable. Like, if the Kings are going to want to make the postseason this year, something we're both a little iffy on how they'll produce in the division or even the West, they're going to need production like this from Anze Kopitar all year. But he looked good. And like you said, can't overreact from one game. I mean, who knows? He could end up finishing with 20 goals this year after getting 3 in his first game. But this man, he looked good again. And that's a good sign for the Los Angeles Kings.
It absolutely is. I'm happy for Kopitar. Like you said, I'm not jumping ship on any predictions because of 1 week. It was also Buffalo. And like every NHL team is an NHL team. I stand by that. Every team is hard to beat. Every team is good. Any team can win on any night. Every team has players that are paid to play. But I'm like, what is up with Buffalo, man? They are just, we're not talking about teams we're unimpressed with. But when you mentioned the Kings, I'm just like, man, did Buffalo just look awful again? 0-3-0. Like, when is Buffalo ever gonna have something good in hockey? Like, they can't even have a good start. And maybe they will finish like last year, because last year they got off to a shit start too. And then came hot at the end. They missed by 4 points, I think, again. Like,
it's like if you don't have that rough start, you don't miss by 4 points.
100%, you probably get in. So like it's nuts what's going on with Buffalo. Yeah, honestly, you hate to see it. I really do. You hate to see it. But yeah, a player I kind of wanted to highlight, Frank. I've been loving what I've been seeing from my dude Lane Hutson with the Montreal Canadiens. He's only racked up how many points? 1, 2. It looks like he had 2 assists last night, so he's point per game so far. He didn't have any against the Leafs in the first game, but he was dancing all over the place. And even on plays that don't lead to goals, because Montreal's still developing around him too. Just everywhere he goes, he's bouncing around, he's dancing. It's pretty at all times. I really enjoy seeing Lane Hutson kind of do his thing for Montreal. It reminds me of what he was doing last year with Boston University. We'll see how it goes for him. I definitely think he's going to be in the mix for the Rookie of the Year award. So we'll see how it's able to go for Lane Hutson going forward. One thing I did notice too that I wanted to call out is the way that on Wednesday, a lot of teams that you were expecting to just have good years, be good teams, a lot of them had back-to-backs on Thursday, and they came out and stymied whatever team they were playing. Or if kind of the opposite, if they were good on the Wednesday night and they had a back-to-back on the Thursday night, they kind of had a tough time. So even go with the Devils, they started 2-0-0 back in Prague over the weekend, and then they came out a little flat against the Maple Leafs. But the Maple Leafs, they played the night before. They dominated the Montreal Canadiens in basically every facet of the game, out shooting them 48-27. And then they still lost 1-0. They come out the next night, they get a big win over the Devils. A lot of the teams that kind of got off to a rough start found a way to get a big win on Thursday. That applies to the Boston Bruins as well. It shows the parity in this league, because the Devils, for the second half of the game against the Maple Leafs, they outplayed them, and they lost 4-2. The rookie goalie for the Maple Leafs played well. The Leafs blocked a lot of shots. But yeah, Frank, I was highlighting Lane Hutson and kind of talking about how people who kind of struggled on Wednesday or were real good on Wednesday or even Tuesday or in Prague, it kind of the opposite. Thursday was like a flip of what we were used to seeing in the first handful of games. And it shows the parity that this league has, and that's something that has really impressed me so far.
Yeah, Lane Hudson, man. Dude's a dog. Dude's a dog.
I drafted 4 rookies.
Did you really?
Maybe Gunther doesn't count as a rookie, but I have Gunther, Gauthier, Lane Hudson, and Will Smith.
Wow.
Yeah, Gunther, man. That's one thing I'll toot my horn about, because whether Utah makes the playoffs or not, Gunther's tucking 30. I'm telling you. He's got 4 through 2 games. He's not going to have 70. Like 4 through 2 games is on pace for. But I think he tucks 30 this year. 25 at minimum. Like, if he doesn't get to 30, I'll be a little disappointed unless there's an injury or something. But, man, that's the player I wanted to highlight, Gunther. And I'm excited to see Gauthier play with the Ducks tonight. Or is that tomorrow? It's tomorrow. Lots of good young talent in the NHL right now. And speaking of young talent, Frank, last year we talked about Macklin Celebrini a whole lot. And he came in and just lit the world on fire in his first career NHL game last year with Boston University. He won the Hobey Baker Award as a freshman. He was only the 5th freshman to ever win the Hobey Baker Award in college hockey. A former Chicago Steel, he becomes the number 1 overall pick in the 2024 NHL draft. And he plays against the St. Louis Blues, and he opens the scoring just 7 minutes into his hockey career. Later in the game, he has his first career assist on a beautiful hockey IQ play to Tyler Toffoli, who scores his first as a San Jose Shark. What is your overall take on Macklin Celebrini and how he started in the NHL?
Boy, he looked good. He looked good for the Sharks. The Sharks are happy from what they saw. Is this one of the slimiest and grossest first career NHL goals, though? Like, don't get me wrong, the pass was beautiful. Beautiful spinorama pass. Trying to get it to Eklund, but it goes off Matthews Kessel's skate and slides perfectly into the net. It's like you got a slimy goal for your first career goal. But like Eddie Olczyk always says, they don't ask how, they just ask how many. He got a goal and an assist. He looked good. He impacted the game in more ways than one. Than other than his goal and assist, he looked great skating out there. It really did. Looked like he fit in like he was playing for years. So that's good. That's good for Macklin Celebrini. But yeah, if you get you didn't even shoot the puck to get the goal. I mean, you were passing it and it went in. It's like I want to see him rip one top shelf over the goalie's shoulder. I want to see what he's made of in that aspect. But yeah, first career NHL goal, first career assist, 2 points on the year in the first game for the Sharks. Did end up losing the game. Blues secured the bonus point in overtime, but it happens. He looked good. The Sharks looked competitive. So yeah.
Yes, slimy first goal. I like that word. Slimy. That's good. It was a slimy first goal. It was a goal. And the assist was just magnificent. And you know what? There were a couple big time shots that he took that either rung the post. I think he rung the post one of the times, and then there were a couple big saves made for the Blues. So Celebrini, he looked overall good. It reminded me of a diet version of Matthews' first game. Because Heischer, Hughes, Dahlin, Power, none of these guys in their first career games did exactly what Celebrini did yesterday. Even Bedard. Bedard wasn't as good as Celebrini in his first game. The last time McDavid even wasn't. I think it took McDavid 3 games to get his first career point, and it was like a weird little tip in. It was kind of a slimy goal too. It was like a barely tip in goal against Dallas. I remember, but Austin Matthews had the 4-goal game in his first career game, and then it was kind of directly his fault that they lost in overtime. I can't remember who scored the game winner for Ottawa in overtime of that Matthews 4-goal game. But Austin Matthews was the one who was kind of bad on the back check of that play. And now he's elite defensively. But the way Braden Shen just walked around Celebrini and got that shot off in overtime, I mean, if Celebrini was a little bit more seasoned, he probably makes a nice poke check on Shen, and that goal probably never happens. But good on Braden Shen to recognize, hey, it's the kid. Let me just go dance around him real quick, and he has nothing he could do to stop me right now. And it worked. Good for the Blues. But yeah, Celebrini first goal. I'm sure his next one will be a lot prettier.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know Celebrini is capable of just ripping one right past the ears of any goalie in the league.
You don't get 2 slime balls in a row.
No, I mean, it'd be kind of funny if he did, but eventually he'll get a couple of these goals, right, where he just freaking blasts it. When Celebrini was in school, there were a lot of comparisons of what his game might be. I heard Jonathan Taves a lot. Um, I don't know. I kind of get like he sure vibes a little bit, but like I don't know if he'll ever be that stout defensively, but also his offensive ceiling might be a tad bit better. So like I don't know. I gotta do some more thinking on who I think Macklin Celebrini is going to mirror more in the NHL because we heard Jonathan Taves, Jonathan Taves, Jonathan Taves for Matthews too. And when I watch Matthews in the year 2024, the last player I think of is Jonathan Taves, other than the fact that Matthews is really good at back checking. But I see more Stamkos in Matthews than anything.
Mhm.
But you know, it is what it is. I love seeing Celebrini have a good first game. Frank, what's your favorite hockey story of the week so far?
Well, got some decent news yesterday regarding CHSN for the Blackhawks that they're working day to day and hour to hour to discuss bringing the channel to Xfinity. I was hoping we'd have some better news today when I woke up, but the good news is they are working around the clock, so we're told hour to hour. Because if right now, if you don't have UVerse or DirecTV, you can't watch Blackhawks games. I can't watch the Jets Hawks game tonight. Nobody in Chicago can. If you're out of market, you can. You can use ESPN Plus or Center Ice, any of those to watch it. But right now, this sucks. This sucks for me. If I want to watch it, I have to listen to it on the radio. It's blacked out any other way. Um, so unless you stream it some janky way or whatever the case may be, that's the only way you're gonna get to watch it, right? But like I said, the good news is there's conversations taking place. It's probably not gonna get done by tonight, VP. Let's be honest.
I'm
Um,
hopeful. No, I don't agree. I'm hopeful.
I don't know. I
I'll
feel,
admit I'm not predicting they get it done.
But if
I'm
the
staying
deal's
hopeful.
done, will it be on right away? Do they have like the channel in place? Like, or will the deal just be done tonight and we still won't get tonight's game? I mean, I hope. I really hope. But I don't know. I'm just irritated. But the good news is, and why it's my favorite hockey story of the week, is there's progress being made. Because for the past week, we really didn't hear anything. They were just having discussions. But now yesterday we heard, hour to hour, they're working their butt off. Xfinity and Comcast, they're the same thing basically. They're the largest cable providers in the Chicagoland area. So to not even have them being broadcast right now, just blasphemy. It's blasphemy. Literally everybody in the Blackhawks like media is talking about it. Ben Pope posted about it today. Like literally, it sucks. It sucks right now. So get this shit done. I don't know why this wasn't done, when Comcast Sportsnet was going off the air, why this wasn't being talked about earlier. Just doesn't make sense to me. It's a little irritating, but I'm hopeful they get it done sooner rather than later.
Deadlines make deals. Remember that. There's a deadline. There's the Winnipeg game. We'll see if it's the next game. I'm remaining hopeful. I really am. You think you got it bad? It will get done. And I'm in Wisconsin right now, away for the weekend. I'll be able to
You
use
can watch it,
ESPN
yeah.
Plus for it. I'm not bragging because I'm coming back to Illinois in short order, and I won't be able to unless they get this deal done. So that is not me bragging. It sucks. It really sucks. You know who has it worse though? And this isn't my favorite hockey story of the week, obviously, but the Utah Hockey Club are blacked out on ESPN for people in Arizona. It
Really?
is just a complete
Why?
joke. I don't know. It is just a complete joke. The Wild are blacked out here. I can't
What?
watch the Wild when I'm here, but I can watch the Hawks.
That's
It's
stupid.
so stupid. It's the dumbest rule in sports, the blackouts. But yeah, my favorite hockey story of the week too also has something to do with the Chicago Blackhawks because it is something important to me. They released today, got this new email. Chicago Blackhawks launch Sticks In platform, a new resource to help local families begin their hockey journey. Beginning today, parents can visit sticksin.com as a guide to hockey in their community with educational materials on getting started to continue their youth hockey journey alongside an interactive tool that provides personalized programming recommendations based on their child's location, age, skill level, and more. While the platform is powered by the Chicago Blackhawks, it brings together information from participating rinks, clubs, and leagues across the region for greater access to information on programs that fit each unique family's needs. I love this, Frank. I love this. I love this. We saw Celebrini score his first career NHL goal yesterday. He played
Yeah.
for the Chicago Steel. He's Canadian, but he came down and played for the Chicago Steel. We saw the Chicago Blackhawks win 3 cups in 6 years. That's Sparked hockey being played in Illinois. Listen, I love the Bears. I love baseball. I still, at the end of the day, want hockey to be as popular in Illinois as baseball and football are. This is a great way to get that going. Get these kids playing. If you're a parent out there and your dirtbag kid is looking for something to do, put them in hockey. It's the greatest sport in the world. It teaches them teamwork, ability to know that if you don't work together, you can't accomplish your goal. If all 6 guys on the ice don't do their job, that little black thing is not going to end up in the net under any circumstances. You have to work together. It's such a team sport more than any other sport because, oh, well, what about football? Yeah, of course, football and baseball are team sports, but like you need your pitcher to make his pitches. You need your quarterback to play well. Otherwise, you have no chance. In hockey, you need everyone. And you need 4 versions of everyone on forward, 3 versions of everyone on defense, and 2 good goalies. It is the ultimate team sport, and it teaches teamwork and leadership, friendship. The kindest people I've ever met in my life have come from hockey. And get your kids in there. I love that the Blackhawks are doing this. Illinois is not a hockey powerhouse yet. When you think of American hockey, it's mostly Minnesota, Michigan, and Massachusetts. You go back to Miracle, and it's a lot of Massachusetts and Minnesota with a little Michigan sprinkled in there. Michigan has boomed, right? We need Illinois to boom. We need a D1 hockey program, whether it's NIU or Illinois or Northwestern. One of these teams needs to get D1 status soon. And put your kids in hockey, play hockey, watch hockey. It's the best. I love that the Blackhawks are doing this. Very much my favorite hockey story of the week. It might end up being my favorite hockey story of the year. Because like when I think of having kids soon, one of the things I'm most excited to share with them is the great game of hockey. And hopefully the Blackhawks have this Sticks In program still going because we will be a part of it. I love it. Great stuff.
Yeah, you love to hear stuff like that. Grow the game. It's unbelievable, especially locally, where you grew up. And it's great to get more kids involved and more families involved. And just, yeah, it's a great thing to see.
Absolutely. All right, Frank, it's time to quickly go over some of the other big sports balls going on in period number 3. Welcome to period 3. Frank, we're just going to quickly go over some of these big things going on in sports ball. We'll start with the MLB playoffs. Last night, or a couple nights ago, the New York Mets took out the Philadelphia Phillies in the National League. While meanwhile, the other NL series, the Dodgers and the Padres, they have Game 5 tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the American League, the New York Yankees took care of the Kansas City Royals last night. And then the Cleveland Guardians hung on to beat the Detroit Tigers yesterday. So they will have Game 5 tomorrow. And that will be an incredible ending to the baseball playoffs. What have you liked? What have you seen? Go over it with me.
I think Mets are the hottest team in baseball right now. They went on a crazy run to end the season to even get to the postseason. Now they're sitting there waiting for the Dodgers and Padres. So, props to the Mets. I'm glad they defeated the Phillies. They're the underdog. I wanted the Tigers to win last night so bad. Oh, my God. I wanted them to win so bad. They blew it. They're up 3-2 in the 7th. The bullpen just couldn't come in and shut it down for a few innings. Oh, and then they had second and third with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th. But Clase, I mean, he's great. He's probably one of the best closers, if not the best closer.
He's the best closer.
Yeah. I mean, so getting a hit off of him to take the lead is probably not. It's not in the cards. Less likely to happen. And that would have been so nice for them to win the series because now you got to go to Cleveland in a Game 5. Anything could happen. They might blow it. I mean, I still think they could win, but you had your chance at home with the lead late in the game. But yeah, Yankees, they look powerful. But also the Royals, I don't think they're ready yet. They're young. They got a lot to learn. Bobby Witt, he's great. But yeah, I'm excited for these Game 5s. Couple of Game 5s doesn't always happen in the MLB. Really doesn't happen in any series, always in any series. But yeah, I'm excited for these Game 5s. Padres and Dodgers, huge rivalry. It's poetic. It's going to a Game 5.
It really is. It really is. I can't wait to see how that plays out. That's probably the best series going or throughout it all. Big time rivals. Love to see it. I don't know who I would root for if the Detroit Tigers play the Yankees. I just want good baseball. Yankees Mets would be awesome. Yankees Mets would be awesome. Yankees Dodgers would be awesome. That's what I wanted at the beginning of the playoffs, but that's when I thought the Mets had no shot.
Yankees Mets would be insane.
It
The
really,
Subway
really would be
Series.
cool. Yep. It would be so cool. So either way, we're going to get some good matchups. Love that baseball still going strong and some good matchups. It's been a great October so far. Frank, what about in the NFL? What games are you looking forward to this weekend, or the NCAA? Both.
Well, in the NFL, Bears are in London. That's going to be fun. I think it's the first time the Bears have ever played in London, isn't it?
No.
It's not. Second time?
No.
Really?
It's been a couple, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm excited about
They played the Raiders there like a couple years ago.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Commanders and Ravens. Jalen Daniels, they look good. Two offenses that are just explosive right now. That'll be a lot of fun. And then Bills Jets. Jets got a new head coach, interim head coach. We'll see. Bills have lost 2 in a row. Jets have lost 2 in a row. It should be interesting. That should be a lot of fun. College football, great games this weekend. Texas and Oklahoma, the Red River rivalry, always a treat to watch. I would love to see Oklahoma upset Texas. Probably not going to happen. Texas is 14.5-point favorites, but you never know. It's a rivalry game. Anything could happen. Those are the best types of games. And Oklahoma victory would just be so sweet. Ohio State and Oregon, 2-3, two teams that could very well be in the college football playoff down the line. A little mid-season playoff preview, maybe. I mean, this probably is the biggest college football game of the week. I think all games will be focused on this game Saturday night. And even Ole Miss, number 9 against in 13 LSU. 2 more teams trying to say, hey, we deserve to be in the college football playoffs. Why not us? So, I mean, we got a lot of great matchups this week in college football. I'm excited to watch them, and I'm glad like these games aren't all on at the same time. I know Ole Miss, LSU, I think is later. I know Ohio State and Oregon is like at 6:30, but I thought Ole Miss and LSU is later, but maybe not. I might be thinking of Colorado.
They're both at 6:30.
I'm thinking of the Colorado Kansas State game. That's at 9:15. I'm looking forward to that game too. Big 12 rival or matchup there. I can't wait for that game. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. But yeah, a lot of good matchups. Very excited. Gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. The NFL is a good slate this week. I am excited to see the Bears play in London. That's awesome. Jaguars, big game. I'm really excited for Buccaneers Saints. I love that rivalry. I absolutely, and I remember last year watching it, in the one in New Orleans in particular. Just great football. And I can't wait to see. I love the NFC South. I think it's so fun, even when the division stinks. I don't think it stinks, but it's not elite either. It's just a division right now. The Buccaneers and the Falcons and the Saints, it looks like a 3-headed monster. I know the Panthers stink, but it's going to be cool to see how that one shakes out. In the college football, obviously, you brought up the Red River rivalry between Texas and Oklahoma. That's a treat and a half. I absolutely cannot wait. And then Ohio State, Oregon, also incredible. I'll have that on the computer while I watch the Devils for sure on the TV. Ole Miss and LSU will get some screen time too. I'm excited. It's really, really cool. This college football slate, the realignment, I hated it at first, and then I'm starting to see some of these matchups that are like normally in week 5 or whatever it is. I think it's week 6 in college. It's like dry, like Alabama's playing some team that they're going to kill by 7. No, Ohio State's playing Oregon. They weren't even in the same conference this time last year, so I'm really stoked about it. It's going to be good stuff. It's a good football weekend, and you're going to want to keep up with the Barroom Network to go over it all and follow me and Frank because we'll be tweeting about it all weekend. You can find our Twitter handles on the screen, at the King Bean, at Vinnie Parisi. All right, Frank, I think it's time for America's favorite podcast segment of the week, Breaking Bets. Bitch, the floor is yours.
Now, how many times have you heard that song?
A lot. A lot.
More than 500? Probably not.
No.
Maybe.
Well, every episode of Breaking Bad.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe.
But probably still not.
No.
Not that many episodes. And Breaking Bets wasn't always here
for
the entirety of. So, yeah, probably not. But probably a couple hundred. Like, for
100%,
sure.
100%.
But anyway, Breaking bets. Hockey's back. We'll do our first. Or no, I did hockey last week, I think. But yeah, I don't even know why I said that. We did hockey last week, but we got the Blackhawks against the Jets tonight. We're gonna go with the first period under 1.5 at -105. Bet to win 2 units. I think a lot of people are expecting there to be a lot of goals in this game, right? Connor Hellebuck looked magnificent in the Jets' first game, posting a shutout. The Jets just scored 6 goals against the Oilers, so I think a lot of people are expecting the Jets to come out firing. But I think this game is going to start out slow, actually. I think if there are a lot of goals that come later on in the game, it just to me, after a big blowout win by the Jets and getting a shutout, I kind of expect things to be calmer for their home opener tonight. So we got Blackhawks, Jets, first period under 1.5 at -105, bet to win 2 units. Second was a game I just touched on kind of for a little bit when we were talking about, interesting matchups we're excited to see this weekend. We got 18 Kansas State at Colorado, unranked. Both teams love to score a lot of points. And in a shootout with the talent on Colorado's side, and they are at home, taking the field goal and a half is beneficial. Yeah, we're taking Colorado plus 3.5 at -112. Bet to win 3 units. Colorado doesn't even have to win this game. They just have to keep it close. Shadir Sanders loves to air the ball out. Travis Hunter has 6 touchdowns on the year. He's going to be up for this huge game. This is such a big division game for Colorado. They are unranked. They have a chance to go 3-0 in the division and get a nice ranked win under their belt and give Kansas State a devastating second loss in division play. It would be a huge statement out of Colorado if they could win this game. For the sake of this bet, they don't even have to win. They just got to cover the 3.5. -112. Bet to win 3 units, which brings us to Sunday. Sunday morning, Jaguars and the Chicago Bears. London, it's like a second home to the Jaguars. They always play in London. But Caleb Williams, he's continued to look better each week so far. He's settling in. He looks like he's settling in. This game's nearly a pick 'em. I get the question marks surrounding the Bears, right? But it's hard to ignore the continued growth we've seen from Caleb Williams so far this season, and it's only been 4 games. Jaguars, they've struggled mightily to score this season. They had a good offensive breakthrough last week. They scored 30-something points last week. But other than that, their other 4 games, they've looked their other games, they've struggled to score. The Bears defense is going to make it tough on them. I just think right now, given the situations that both teams are in, the Bears have more weapons on offense than the Jaguars, and the Jaguars aren't playing their best football. These are the opportunities where you got to strike while they're down. We're going Chicago Bears money line at -130, bet to win 5 units. Very confident in the Bears. I'm a little nervous that it's at a neutral site, but I think the Bears get it done. I love the way that Caleb Williams continues to look each and every week.
I'm with you. I don't like that the Sharks are jumping on the Jags, though.
It's all right.
The Sharks are jumping hard on the Jags. The line moved like overnight, it felt like, from 2.5 to 1.
I know.
And that means the Sharks are just jumping it because 80% of the public money is still on the Bears. And the line moved that much with that much money being on the Bears is crazy. But we'll see how it goes. Frank, you did a great job of breaking bets. I hope you're right about the beloved. Super excited for this weekend of football. We got great hockey coming up. And, of course, the MLB postseason. It's October. It's the best month of the year. Frank, I love doing this show. It's been a great time.
It's been a fun show. It's been a lot of fun. Glad hockey's back. Got some great football matchups to look forward to this weekend. The weather's getting crisp. It's sweater weather.
Yep.
It's been a lot of fun.
Absolutely, Frank. And as always, make sure you tune into the Barroom Network. Make sure you follow at the King Bean, at Vinnie Parisi on Twitter. And until next time, we say, have a great rest of your evening. Go Devils. Go Blackhawks. Thank you for listening.